Hey everyone, it's Kai with SeriousWatches, and in this special video we're going to be talking about the latest, newest Formex Reef model. It's coming out in January of 2021 and we already have the prototype, and we're going to be doing this video to discuss this watch. However, we're going to be joined by the CEO of Formex Watches, Raphael. He will be able to answer some in-depth questions and we're going to discuss this watch a little bit, so I hope you enjoy. So for this special video, we're joined by Raphael, all the way from Switzerland.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. It's nice to meeting your audience, even if it's just digitally, as so many things are nowadays. So we're getting used to it. Yeah, looking forward to our conversation.
Hopefully in 2021 we can meet in person again, and because obviously this is not ideal, but you have to make things work during these crazy times.
Yeah, and we do, but I can't wait to get out and mingle again. You know, we didn't have any watch shows this year, and we really love to see the reaction in real time to our timepieces and present them from person to person. And we also had a lot of dinners planned in Germany, in the US, and everything. That all didn't happen, obviously. So let's hope 21 will be a bit more social.
That's totally one of the things that, especially as a watch store, you rarely see your customers actually get their watches and enjoy them. You just get emails or pictures, but it's a way different thing when you have a customer at the office. Our showroom had to close, for example, so we've not had any customers here for months now. It's just a shame not to be able to see each other and to greet each other, and let's hope for better things in 2021. And I do think we're going to be starting off 2021 with a very cool release by you guys with the Formex Reef. And so we're going to go back and forth with a few questions, and I hope that we can help everyone understand the model better, because it's going to be a completely new release for you guys. You've not really had anything like this. So we actually have a prototype. I have it on my wrist at the moment, and the first thing I noticed is how comfortable it is on my wrist. And my wrist is well, it's 19 centimeters. I'll just show it to the camera here. It's a lovely blue one. And then I handed the watch to a colleague who has 15 centimeter wrist, and it fit great on her wrist as well. And that's something you rarely ever see with watches, that they work well on a lot of different wrists. Is that something that was like a happy accident where you designed a watch and it was like, hey, it worked really well? Or is it something that you really work towards?
Nothing's an accident here. No, but I'm really glad you mentioned this, because this is something we're putting a lot of effort in when we develop watches, and we noticed this from the development of the Essence, which is 43 millimeter, and the feedback was almost unanimous that it wears smaller. You can pull it off on the wrist of somebody who never thought of buying a 43 millimeter watch. And this is something we started getting into, and now we have our little tricks on how to make a watch very comfortable. And for us, this is something essential, because I myself, for instance, in the morning, I take my watch from the watch stand even before I put my socks on. And for me, it really has to be something that is extremely comfortable to wear every day. It's nice when it looks nice, but wearing a good looking watch that you feel the whole day, and you kind of have something there that isn't sitting quite right on your wrist, is something we wanted to avoid. So the ergonomy of our timepieces is something that is really important for us. One of the main factors for that, or a couple of main factors actually, to achieve that for us are the thickness. So even though it's a diver that is waterproof to 300 meters, it's only 11.4 millimeters high, which in itself creates a low center of gravity, which is one of the main factors actually to make a watch comfortable. And then the log-to-log width and the tapering lugs that taper down at the end of your wrist. Also kind of makes it hug your wrist. Yeah, those are a couple of factors. And then also we've got a stamped case back. It was really important for us that you don't actually feel the structure, even though when you turn it around and you look at it into in the light, the reflections are really nice. And the inspiration for that stamped case back was actually a sandy bottom on the ocean. And yeah, but you want to see it, enjoy it when you look at it, but you don't want to feel it when you wear the watch. So yeah, those are a few things we really pay close attention to, and they also play into the features that are on the watch. You know, the micro adjustment, the quick release. It's something that we want to offer our clients that really give them ease of use and a lot of comfort. So yeah, it's definitely on purpose.
Because that's something that always amazed me as a watch enthusiast, that so many watch companies seem to put aesthetics above any sort of comfort. They would rather make a good looking 48 watch than a comfortable 40mm watch. And that's where Formex is just so fundamentally different, is that you think of these small things like a case back engraving. I mean, we do get complaints from customers occasionally that I love the case back engraving, but it hurts my wrist. And it doesn't even add anything. It just looks sort of cool, but it doesn't add towards comfort. And the same for thickness. I mean, how many companies don't want to go for like 2,000 meter water resistance? Well, it's completely not practical, and it just makes the case thicker or heavier or less comfortable. So I love that you've done that, and that's something that I think that shows through with every Formex watch, is how well thought out it is. You think of the things that watch enthusiasts notice after 2 years of wear, rather than the quick, easy sell where just something looks really good. So love that you did that.
Thank you. Yeah, and what you mentioned, you know, feeling the case back engraving or the stamped case back, that's actually something that happened to me with other watches. So I'd rather be the first one to wear the prototype always. So I test it like for a month, or whenever I get just the case as a prototype. Whenever we finish producing that, I'll wear the case with something in it to simulate the movement and the dial weight. And I'll wear an empty watch for 2 weeks, a day and night. And instead of having that customer email telling me, hey, your case back engraving looks really nice, but it hurts my wrist, I want to be actually that customer telling myself, hey, this is something we need to change. And we rather push the launch of that model, even if it's already in the channel and if it's already in production. I'd rather push that by a month or two than putting out something that I myself can't wear comfortably, or when I've noticed that something is wrong. Yeah, we'd rather take the extra step and correct that mistake. Yeah,
that's just, yeah, I think that really summarizes why Formex is so different from many other companies. I'm not saying that the competition would on purpose put in poor casebacks or doesn't put any thought into their projects, but I mean, with Formex it always seems so well thought out, and every single detail, and even if I have to recommend a watch to a friend, and I recently did, a very dear friend of mine wanted a new watch, and he has a very big collection. I said, try Formex. That was like my first go-to stab, and he wears it quite a lot and he loves it, and he is finding those small details that you always put in, and that as a watch enthusiast, that's just the main thing. And speaking of other watch brands, the Reef is a diving model, which is a new style, of course, for Formex, because the Essence series was more of an all-day watch, and you had the Pilot series. This is specifically a diving watch with the diving bezel, 300 meter water resistance. What would you say would be a main competitor? What sort of customer are you looking for? Because obviously the quality is better than anything Seiko puts out in that particular price range, to be brutally honest. I mean, the value for money is tremendous, the quality is superb. What customer are you aiming for? Are you aiming for the Rolex Submariner customer, or what sort of person would buy the Reef, do you think?
That's a good question. We didn't necessarily approach the development and the design of the Reef in terms of saying, yeah, we want to target that specific customer. But, you know, after we put out the Essence Leggera, the carbon models, I felt a market we want to tap in would be the diver watch market, because, yeah, let's be honest, that's a huge market, and probably thanks to the Submariner in the past 50 years, that has become one of the most sold type of watches. We didn't have a new era Formex diver yet, so this is what we kind of attacked, and then we just put it, we put our secret sauce on it, kind of. So we developed with our Formex mentality, which is always, we want to create our own design, our unique design language, DNA. So our goal is 5 years down the line that people look at somebody's wrist and say, "Wow, that's a Formex," even without seeing the logo. So I know it's a big challenge, obviously, but I think if we stick to our codes, our design values, and our DNA long enough, I think that will be the case. And this is really the approach we took when we designed this model. So it's this time we worked with more designers internally here, and we really played the ball around. I mean, we always sit together once a week or twice a week, and then we discuss and play around with different ideas, and then one guy goes off and works on the bezel. I go off and work on that specific part of the log or the bumps we have, which, by the way, have been a source for a lot of discussion. Some people say, yeah, it looks really cool, it makes it symmetrical. Some say, yeah, what's that bump at 9 o'clock? And yeah, so you can never make it right for everyone, but this is the approach we took when designing it, and this is also the approach we're gonna be taking in the future on new models. So it's not necessarily for one specific customer avatar or customer persona that we say, yeah, we're creating the model for this guy, but we want to create something that fits our philosophy in terms of functionality, design, also comfort that you mentioned before. And then we attack it. Yeah, we put that model out in about, from the first pencil stroke to market, it was about 13 months to presenting it. So it was pretty fast for a ground up new model design. And that's something we really want to keep up, the quick pace in developing and being able to offer up new things to our customers as well.
And I think what you said was one of the best answers that you could give, is that not necessarily we were trying to create some sort of Submariner alternative. You were just trying to create a watch that was the best it could be, fitting your design philosophy. So I think that's where a lot of other brands may go wrong. They see one brand is creating a very cool GMT watch, and they're like, we need a GMT quickly. And they'll design a GMT with that particular design in mind. And with Formex, you seem to be creating the watch that genuinely feels like you want it to be, not necessarily trying to emulate a certain thing. And I think that if you have a very specific customer in mind, it will just limit your imagination. It's like an artist knowing that he's going to create one certain style, being very limited rather than thinking outside of the box. And that's what you did, because you did implement different elements for different styles and different qualities. But speaking of styles, this is, of course, a diving style watch. Are you also planning on doing like a dress watch or anything really new, some sort of defining in other genres, or will it always be Formex means relatively sporty?
I think I could say that we don't want to put ourselves in too many, or in too few boxes, actually. We don't want to limit ourselves, so I'm not going to say we're always going to make this type of watches, we're always going to make only sporty watches. I mean, we took the brand from being almost a purely motorsports inspired brand to what it is now, 4 years after we took over, which is already much more versatile. I talked about our design DNA, our codes. So I'd rather, look at a different type of watch, like a dress watch, absolutely possible in the future, and tackle that design challenge through our DNA, through our codes, through our different filters we have, and then attack it. So I don't want to say no to anything. We could do, next we could come up with a pilot watch, we could come up with a field watch or a dress watch. And even though the essence already has some dressy character, but it's definitely a sports watch. So what you can look forward to is us staying true to our original designs, definitely. So every single screw, every little part is our own tooling, our own design. We'll never go for, catalog things that some OEM manufacturers offer up. We really want to have our originality and stay true to that. And then what you also mentioned before, we don't want to go and create the next Franken watch and then say, I like the sub bezel, I like the Seiko case middle. Let's throw in a little bit of everything. So yeah, this is what we want to do. Definitely a possibility to bring out a really, really sleek dress watch, for instance. Yeah, probably focus on contemporary designs, or our designs are more modern according to what we can do in terms of manufacturing and finishing. Yeah, but everything's possible in terms of what type of watch we will tackle next.
And I think that, especially with the way you can change straps, if you have an Essence and you put it on a nice leather strap, it can be very dressy. And if you put it on the bracelet or on the rubber strap, that can change the look in just a few clicks. And even if you don't do that, an Essence on a metal bracelet can look good at the office. It would look good on a boat. It would, even on a funeral or whatever. You can wear it every day. But we've also spoken quite a bit about the design DNA of Formex. I know that if I were to ask someone that roughly knows your brand, they will say Formex suspension, because the suspension is something that is a very apparent feature on the Essence and the Essence Leggera. The Reef doesn't have it. Was that like a very conscious design choice, or was there other reasons behind, what are the plans with the suspension and why isn't it on the Reef?
Yeah, so when we launched, obviously, or even when we designed it, when I said we want to do it without the suspension, a lot of people said, wow, are you crazy? You can't do that. People are going to, not like it because of that. And I consciously took that decision because, the brand has been around for we're a month shy of 20 years now. And it was founded around this idea of the case suspension system. So it's nice to have it. It's a nice feature. It does actually add to the comfort when wearing the watch. But at the same time, it poses a lot of challenges in terms of watch case construction, design. We always need to kind of fit that system in there, and creating a 300-meter dive watch that is still sort of sleek and actually has those attributes that you mentioned before, and then have this whole space we need for the case suspension system inside would have been maybe somehow possible, but we wanted to on purpose step away from the case suspension system with this model as a sort of an emancipation from the system, which doesn't mean that we're not going to use it. I mean, the Essence lines are still going to carry it, Leggera and Steel, also in the future. But we want to say, hey, we're not only about this case suspension system. We have a lot more to offer than that as well. And some models are going to have it, and some are not. That was the idea behind it. And actually, very few customers asked about it. We were surprised. We made it very clear when we presented the Reef first that it doesn't have it, so there's no doubt, or there shouldn't be. I hope not. But a lot of people didn't even bother to ask why. But that's the explanation.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that when you have a design DNA, some brands can get too caught up with a certain thing, and they just go out of their way to implement a certain thing they feel is part of their key DNA just to fit in with their design language, while it may not make sense. I mean, that's what we spoke about before. Like, yeah, you can have a great case-back engraving, but if it would make the watch less comfortable, then why do it? And that would be the same for the suspension. If you had to add it in, but the watch would be thicker or heavier or whatever discomfort it would add, then I think you're always making the right choice. And it just shows where your design DNA is going, and that you're willing to experiment and try new things. And that, I suppose, that again is something that really works for Formex.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the suspension system, but at the same time we implemented a new quick release. So I don't know if you played around with it, but it's much easier now, and even the rubber strap has it. So it's a metal part that is integrated with a very thin quick release system that is patented as well. And so, that's something we could add on the Reef that we don't have on the other models yet. So for us, it's more important to be innovative in new features as well as to necessarily sticking to old paradigms as you mentioned it before. The development we do sometimes in terms of features and comfort and everything is very, very logical. Probably is the more of the Swiss German side of me bringing that, whereas we try to bring in the emotional side with design elements. We want our customer to look at the watch, and if it's for them, they should already know it after a couple of seconds. Like this is what we try to evoke with the design. And that's the more emotional side of the brand then.
And I think with the Reef especially, one of the first things I did was try and see how I could change the strap. And no manual, I just took the watch and I had the bracelet off in literally less than 10 seconds. That's how easy and comfortable it is. And that's just, I think that for me personally, one of the best things about Formex is the way you approach bracelets and clasps. Even the diver's extension, it's just so smooth and so it's just perfect. It allows you to change the length of the strap way more comfortably than say a Rolex Glide Log or whatever alternative. It's among the best. It always surprised me that so many brands don't do what you do in terms of clasps, because it's so important. If it's warm, your wrists swell up, and there's nothing less comfortable than having a very tight watch strap that's making your hand go blue. It's just the little things that make so much of a difference, and in terms of comfort. And the diving extension, I really is amazing on the Reef. It's so smooth, it's so comfortable, it's so easy to do. Changing the strap as well. It's always one of the marketing gimmicks where they say, "Oh, it's so easy, you can do it blindfolded." This actually is that easy. It feels very sturdy as well. I mean, I have to admit, it's your prototype, but I put a little bit of force on there just to see how the quality is, because you can design a great system, but if it falls apart after like 5 seconds, then wouldn't be able to recommend it. But this just feels sturdy. This feels, well, like the German side of you, very well engineered. I mean, I don't know how you do it, because so few other brands do what you do. I can imagine that the phone must be ringing with other companies calling you like, "We need your system. Let us just buy Formex and just have your clasp in your patent, because they're so good." I mean, it's baffling how good they are.
You mentioned how important that is, because I get asked a lot, how do you do it, and why do you put so much or how can you put so much thought in bracelets and buckles? Yeah, actually the rubber strap also has micro adjustment in the buckle, which you can't see, but you can use it while the watch is on your wrist. You don't have to take the watch off, and these are little things that customers are starting to expect on watches, because more and more brands are diving into it, so to speak, and quick releases, micro adjustments are things that are actually consumer driven. A very high end brand is going to have to do it in the next couple of years, because if they don't, the customers in the boutiques are going to say, "Hey, I bought a watch for 2,000 francs. Why does your watch for 10K not have these features? It shouldn't be too hard." Yeah, so this is also why we put in this amount of effort into the development of bracelets and buckles. Yeah, the fact that you mentioned that it's so easy to change the straps. I think you can, when you've worn your watch for a week or 2 or 3 or a month straight, and then you can just pick up a rubber strap, put it on, and it really completely changes the vibe of the watch. So we developed that from the get-go, so it's easy to change. And my idea is that you actually keep your straps, that little bowl organizer where you put your house keys or car keys close to the door, the entrance door. That's where you should keep your Formex straps, because you might step out of the house and say, "Oh, today I have my brown leather shoes. Let's throw on a leather strap." So that was my idea behind this interchangeability of the straps.
And the benefit as well of the Reef is that with the versatile sizing, that your significant other can most likely wear one as well. So you can get one in 2 colors, and you can keep all the straps in a big bowl, and it can be a family affair. So that would be fun.
Absolutely. We have a lot of customers ordering a watch, and then a week or 2 after they just ordered a second one that is similar or even identical, and then they say, "Yeah, my wife just stole it from me." I had to get a second one.
I mean, that's a good problem to have. And speaking of the future, because 2021 is going to start up with the Reef in January. Obviously, you went from design to production with the Reef in 13 months. Is there anything else we can expect from Formex in 2021? Is there anything coming soon?
Yes, actually. Another example of how we try to listen to our customers or soon-to-be customers, because in the past couple of months, or ever since we launched the Essence Steel, actually, a lot of people said, even though it wears smaller than than you might think. A lot of people said, yeah, I have a small wrist. Some people said, I have a chicken wrist. Are you going to make the Essence smaller? So this is actually something we launched already today. And we came out with the Essence 39, which is 4mm or about 10%, a bit more than 10% smaller than the Essence, than the classic Essence 43mm. And I can tell you, boy, do those 4mm make a difference, because if you see them side by side, I can show you. Actually have the green dial version here. If you show them side by side, this is the difference you get. So actually it makes a massive difference.
The green one is a brand new color, isn't it? Because the 43 just doesn't have the green yet, but this is
Not yet, actually. And what you can also see, if I remove the minute hand from the logo, is our new logo that we started on the Reef. Let me see if it focuses. Doesn't really, huh? There you go. So you have our new logo, and we created our new logo with this symbol. Also, one of the reasons for this symbol is that we can use it as an applied index on the dial. That has also a vertically brushed finish, satin finish, like the bezel, like the dial in this case. So you find those finishing codes on different, even on the indexes, those tiny little surfaces that are flat on top, that you almost don't see. They have a brushed finish and a polished bevel. So this is something we added to the 39, and it will be also updated on the new production run of the 43 next year. Yeah, we plan to present that one in March probably. Yeah. Also, as we go, we'll also update the Legeras with the new logo, and it has been received really warmly on the markets. A lot of people like the new logo. We did a little video on what the symbol means, if you want to check it out in detail. Yeah, it's been a great move on the dial, I have to say, because it really adds a lot of value to the dial to have this little applied symbol on there.
So yeah, that's another exciting release coming in 2021, and I think a lot of people will be happy to have a 39mm version of the Essence. I don't think you can have too many Essences, to be honest, because it's just such a great watch, and I think the 39 will open up even more opportunities, even for people with smaller wrists, chicken wrists, or ladies, or whatever. Everyone will be able to enjoy it. It's going to be a great year, and it's been very nice catching up with you, Raphael, and I think a lot of people will now be wanting to buy these, the new Reef or the new Essence 39. We'll be as SeriousWatches, we'll have them up on our site, but they'll also be on the Formex website or any of the other retailers around the world. And I hope that the next time we talk, it will be in person again, without Corona, but with a very nice Reef on both of our wrists. So thank you so much, Raphael, and I hope everyone enjoyed this video where we got a more in-depth and some more down to the nitty-gritty with the new Formex Reef. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. And to your audience, if you're seeing this video, that means that you follow SeriousWatches. They've been a great partner to Formex, so I strongly encourage you to buy your Formex watches there if you already had the pleasure of having the great customer service they offer. So yeah, go on, head on to their site and check out our watches there.